Hey there everyone, welcome back to Gamevine, and my name is David, and you can see it's a bit crowded on the set today. We're going to be doing a review of Sheriff of Nottingham, but welcoming back Chris Earls. He's done a few reviews with us today, well, over the few days that we've been doing reviews. And we have Trevor Krigo, and this is one of our gaming friends, but he's also part of the family as well.
He will be.
Just to give a brief background on your gaming history, just to tell who you are and why we should trust your opinion on gaming. Do you want to tell the folks out there where you started with gaming, board gaming, tabletop related gaming?
Yeah, I was somewhat of a purist when I started gaming. Obviously, like most people, had a background just as a childhood playing games like Clue and different things like that. You know, yeah, all the kind of basic kiddie games. But more in-depth gaming, played a lot of Risk. Not so much traditional Risk, a lot of the variants like 2210, Godstorm, Lord of the Rings Risk, stuff like that. So played that for a long time with another group of gamers, and then when my buddy over here, Chris, kind of got pulled into the family, he got me into this group, and that's when I kind of started branching off into a lot of different types of games. And I guess I don't know how long I've been in the group here, but
at least a year.
Yeah, about a year. It's been a while now, so
it went by so fast. But I totally weirded you out when we first
you did.
Yes,
met.
you did.
I mean,
big creeper here.
This beard's awesome. So, all right, so Sheriff of Nottingham. This is the game we're gonna have up for review, and this is a part of the Dice Tower Essentials. And what that is Tom Vassell from the Dice Tower is working with the publisher Arcane Wonders to bring back reprint games of games that they like. Tom Vassell, if he likes it a lot, and Arcane Wonder, of course, if they agree, they'll reprint a game, or they'll bring a game to print for the first time. And Sheriff of Nottingham is actually the third rendition of this game. The first one was, I know I'm going to say it wrong, Heart Den Grins. Basically, it translates to be a game about taking your stuff across the border. You have a little suitcase, and you're putting stuff in that instead, and you're trying to get across the Mexican border. Then it went over to the second rendition, which was Robin Hood, and it was just kind of, it was the same thing as this, just a little more simpler with lower quality components. And that brings us to today's game of Sheriff of Nottingham. And now, of course, Tom Vassell has brought this game back to life, and this is basically a bluffing game, right? Yes. And it's kind of a hand management and set collection. You also have a few things in there that kind of shake the game up with the cards. But with all that being said, let me show you what comes in the box, and then we'll show you how to play. Let's go. Alright, so the first thing that we have in the box are the 300 cards, and I've slayed them, of course, and that is a chore in itself, but they are basically two different types of cards. There are contraband that are red, and there are green cards which are legal, but they can be taken out if you lie about them. The anatomy of the card shows how much this is worth at the end of the game, how much penalty you have to pay if you get caught, and then of course the title. There also will be a small one here, number down here, and that shows how many players it is required to have that card in there. And they lay it out really easily, so you can just look through the cards. If you're playing 4 players, it'll say take out this many bread, and you'll have it all there. So there are about 300 plus cards in this game. The next thing that we have are the cardboard component. Then we have the player boards, and they're really thick, double-sided, and there are 5 different ones because you can play up to 5 different players. The next cardboard component we have are the monies. We have 50, we have 20, we have 1, and we have 5. And the last few things that we have are the kind of velvet bags with the snap on the back here. I do want to say sometimes I feel like I'm gonna rip the button off the back here, though they have held up pretty well, better than I thought. And then the last cardboard component we have here is the Sheriff standee, and the Sheriff is, of the hour will be holding this. The other thing that I will mention about the components is the inserts are really useful. You can keep the money in here, and of course the cards are going to be in the middle of the table, so some people, especially if they're not sleeved, you can easily fit them in that insert. And one other thing I do want to point out is the box art. This is one of the things that shines in this game. The art from Robin Hood was okay, but Sheriff of Nottingham really takes it to the next level, and it's even on the front of the box. So if you walk up and you see this game, you're going to be interested from the get-go. I mean, the Sheriff looks very mischievous, and it has just so much on it, and this also translates on the cards and everything else. So now let's show you how this game is played. So in the start of the game, you'll give everybody their player board, and this one suspiciously looks kind of like Robin Hood. And then you'll give their corresponding bag, hook them up with 50 gold apiece. That one went right in there. And then you'll have 6 cards dealt out to each player. Then you'll take most of the cards here and put them in the middle, and you'll put 5 cards in each one of the discard piles. That's important because you're going to be drawing from the discard pile and or the unknown pile. Lastly, you'll decide on who's the sheriff, and that is the person that has the most actual cash on their person. So, Chris. So, in a round of play, 5 things will happen, and it's right here displayed outright on the player card so you won't forget. It's an easy reminder. The first one is market phase, load bag, merchant bag, declaration, inspection, end of round. First, let's go over the market phase. So the name of the game is actually to try to get as much money as you can via contraband or legal goods. And I'll go into more detail on how that really pans out a little later in the stages, but the market stage, you'll start with the most left person of the sheriff, and they'll be the first person to do this. This is where you can discard any cards that you want. It can be contraband or good ones, and pick out any cards that you want from the discard pile that are on the top, or pick from the unknown pile. So it is important to note that you can not draw from the unknown pile after you draw from the discard pile. So when you are discarding cards, you want to put them here, and then you will pick off the top of what you want. So right here, I'm setting up for a good bread turn, and I'll explain why you want multiples in a second. So I picked up one of my 4 discarded cards from the discard pile, and I can put them in either discard pile that I want. I can put 1 here and 3 over here for 1, but now that I've done 1 from the discard, I can pick up 3 from the unknown pile, and look at that. This is gonna be a great freaking bread turn. And each player will continue to do that, this person, that person, this person, all the way to the sheriff, and then you'll go to the phase 2, load merchant bag. So the load merchant bag phase is as such. Again, you'll continue with the left person on the sheriff, and they will take 1 to 5 cards that they have in their hand. You can never put all 6 of your cards in the bag at once, and then you'll put them in your load merchant bag. Now you want to do this with some kind of strategy, because you can put all these bread in here, but you can also put 4 bread and 1 apple, but you can only claim 1 good, and that is in the game for an important reason, kind of a balancing act. Next up, we have the declaration phase. Now this is where you'll be passing your bag to the sheriff and looking him in the eye as such.
I'm claiming 5 bread, me lord.
Interesting.
Yeah, like that, and then you'll declare how many of 1 good that you have in your bag. Now you can lie about whatever kind of good you want, but you do have to tell the truth about the number. So if you have 3 cards in the bag, you have to say, I have 3 bread. At this point, you will start the timer, and this is where the sheriff will be handing the bags back. You could use this nifty app that you can get on Android or iPhone to have a soundtrack to the game, and it will have a timer as well. You can also use this as a end score keeper, so it's pretty nifty. So during the inspection phase, anything goes. So this is where the bluffing comes into play, the negotiation, the gambling. So the sheriff they're going to have all the bags in their possession, and they're going to have a timer to give them out in any order they want. Now this is where they can get some intel before they open a person's bag that they think is suspicious. There are consequences to opening people's bags. So if, say, Chris is the sheriff and he decides to open my bag, once this snaps, there's no going back. But before it snaps, I can say, oh, wait. I'll give you 2 gold not to open my bag, or I'll give you some of my cheese that is in this bag, or I'll give you some of my cheese that I have on my character. Any kind of goods or cash, anything that you can give away, you can do in this game within reason. But future promises can also be made, but those are not binding. So you say, okay, I'm gonna let you through this time, but if you're sheriff next, you have to let me through. That is not binding. So the repercussions of opening somebody's bag, if they were telling the truth, like all my bread here, I said that I have 4 bread here and the sheriff opened my bag. There are penalties right here. He would have to pay me penalties for each card that I was telling the truth about. So this right here, I would get all my bread to put on my area card here, and this is where you're going to be set collecting on your player card, and you're going to be putting them on each side corresponding, and we'll go over how the scoring works in a second. But if I were lying and I said I had 5 bread, but I try to sneak this illegal apple in with the mix, that is a lie, and I would have to pay him 2 gold, and he wouldn't have to pay me any of the penalties, and I would have to remove this, and the sheriff would put it in the discard pile anywhere he wants. Though anything that I was telling the truth about, I still get to keep on my person. Of course, contraband is always illegal, so you can't tell the truth about that and get it through. So this is the only way that you can get contraband through, is in this inspection phase, and you have to lie about it. Side note, when the sheriff gives a bag back to a person, they immediately open it up and then take out all their items, putting it in their appropriate place. So this is important because he might wait to the very end to get more information, and say if everyone's claiming cheese, he knows that this person only had 1 cheese, and he can go to the next person and say, okay, well, they were lying, maybe you are too. Another side note, Tom Vassell signed my game. Oh, so cool. So this will continue to go until the timer runs out. Now, if the timer runs out and the sheriff has any bags left, he has to immediately give those bags to the players, and they get through scot-free. So that is the end of the round. That is the final stage, and the sheriff will pass to the left, and you'll continue to do this process until everyone has been the sheriff 2 times, and in a 3-player game 3 times. Now that you know how to play the game and the basics of that, now let's go over some of the cards so you can get more of a flavor of the game. Alright, so the green cards, you all know about. I'm not going to go over them. There's apples. There are 48 apples. There are 36 bread and cheese, and there are 24 chickens. So that is important because the scoring does kind of range to scale it. But we're going to go over the contraband. And what I didn't add is if you do get contraband across the line, you'll be putting it up here face down so people don't know what it is. That matters because it might be boostering your score. So the first contraband that we have beyond the bread that I have here is mead. Now that is worth a lot. Now you'll notice all the value on the contraband is high because it's chancy. It's a gamble, or the consequences pretty high as well. This one here, it counts as 2 pieces of bread at the end of the game. So somebody might think that they're winning the bread game, but you have this here and you're on the brink of winning, and this could really pull ahead. This one is a chicken and counts as 2 chickens. Oil, this isn't anything specific, but it's worth 10. And all these are being taxed highly by Prince John, and that's why they're illegal. I don't know the story behind it, but he's a butthead. So the green apples, of course, the Granny Smith apples, there are other apples and other bread in the game. They are 2 apples instead of the 1. They also have silk, and even more silk in the game, golden silk, that's worth more. They also have crossbows and things that amp up these crossbows. Like there's another crossbow that says if you have multiple crossbows, each one of these crossbows are worth even more. So the contraband, it kind of continues like that in that pattern. And there are a few cards like this one here that kind of shake the game up. Now this is a promo, so there are a few promos that I have that you might not see in your original box, but I'm using this one to show you that there is text that alter the game. This one here, you cannot collect bonuses at the end of the game, and that's important because we're going to be going with the score now, and I'll show you how those work. So at the end of the game, you're going to score like this. All your money counts as 1 point, so that you want to try to get as much cash as you want, and each one of the cards has a value, so you'll count up the value. So 5 apples will be worth 10 gold, bread will be worth everything, so you'll count up all that, and then you'll go into the king and queen bonus, and that's what you'll see here. So the person with the majority of apples will get 20 extra points, and then the person with second most will get 10 points. Now if there's a tie for first, they'll split the 20 points and get 10 apiece, and there won't be any second place. The second place can split as well, but you can go over that later. So the bread also has that 15 and 10, and as it goes on, the king and queen bonus gets a little lower, but it's because the value of the cards is a little more. So that's how you will score cash, goods, contraband, and the king and queen bonus. You'll add up all that, and at the end of the game, you'll declare a victor. And it probably won't be me. I mean, will it be you? It won't be you.
Definitely be me.
It'll be him.
Probably will not be me.
Okay, so that is Sheriff of Nottingham in a nutshell. And as we always do, let's go and talk about this game and give it a score and tell you if we like it or not. So, I'm going to be giving this game a letter grade and or a percentage, and these guys are going to do kind of a thumb tactic with it. Now, I settled on an 86%, which is a high B, and I think that is a good score for this game. Some people might like it a little more, think it might warrant a higher level, but I'll get into the reasons why I like it a little later when we start to discuss it. But I want to get into why you guys like it first, so let's let the newcomer talk about it first.
Right.
So your grade, you can do a thumbs up or just say whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I think it's probably a little higher for me, but I think it's probably more for nostalgic purposes. I remember this is one of the first games I played the very first night that I started playing with these guys. So it's a really good game. You know, it's you're kind of building your hands to try and gathering resources. So there's a lot of strategic elements to the game, but I like any game that couples strategy with being a really good social game, and the aspects of the market phase when you're trying to either tell the truth or lie, when you're putting your stuff into your envelope, you're having that social dynamic between you and the sheriff. And another thing we didn't touch on a lot is you actually there's a dynamic where you're interacting with other players in the market phase as well.
Right.
You know, you might want to try and out somebody, so you say, "Hey, I'll give you 3 gold to open theirs because you've got a feeling they've got contraband." So there's a really good.
That happens a lot in our game.
Oh yeah,
and once that happens,
happens,
once they take the money, that happens. You
done
have
deal.
to take it.
Yeah.
But bluffing games are kind of your thing. I mean, you are such a great deduction social game player, and it really invokes that kind of laughter when it comes to that kind of game, right?
I absolutely love it.
Oh, I mean, my eyes pop out of my head sometimes. I start to sweat and get headaches. So I really like this game. Now, are you going to be giving it a thumbs up?
Thumbs up all the way too.
So what about you, my man? What are you going to be giving it?
Yeah, I've always enjoyed them. Always good for a bluffing game.
Mm-hmm.
Those are always one of my favorite games to play.
Most definitely.
And this is definitely up there with the bluffing wise, and the hand building. That's, you know, it's kind of you want to plan your hand ahead of time before you go into it a little bit, so it adds a little bit more to the bluffing aspect of it. But it's definitely a fun game.
Bigger game.
Way bigger.
Yeah.
Way bigger. Yeah, I'm a thumbs up for it, for sure.
Yeah, that's what it is. So a little deeper into my thoughts on this game, the reason why I like it so much is that you get to lie to your friends. I mean, whenever I can do that and really just outright lie to their face and get contraband, like a whole bag of contraband just going around. But whatever, I mean, it's still fun either way. And it's a bit deeper and bigger than like a one-night werewolf, and it's still easy to teach. So, I mean, this game, well, at least you suggested every game night. And we've played this multiple times, more than most games that we have on my shelf. So that's saying something in itself just about Sheriff of Nottingham. And I did not mention all the game awards that this game has been getting over the last few years, so I just wanted to throw that in as well. I'm sure this game is going to continue to snowball and become even bigger with more expansions. So that was Sheriff of Nottingham, and this is the first game in the Dice Towers Essentials. We'll continue to review these games, but the very first one was a winner for me. I can't recommend this game enough for any gamer group. I mean, families would do well with this. I think gamers would have fun with this, and even a casual gamer. If you brought this out during, like, you know, maybe a Thanksgiving with, you know, people who play like Risk or something, they really would get into this theme, the way that it plays. And I adore Sheriff of Nottingham, and I'm pretty sure you guys agree.
No, I think that's our plan. We are definitely buying this for our family to play when we get together.
Mm-hmm. So until next time that we see you, I've been Dave.
Trevor Krigo.
Chris.
You heard it here on the Game Find. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day and a great time with all you play. We're out. Bye.
Boom.
Bye. Bye. Give us a bye.
Bye.
Well, as a
is it recording?
Reviewer.
It's recording.
Is it recording?
Now it is.
He'll edit.
Should I change my hat?
Yeah.
No, flip it up. Do that flippy up thing. Do that. Yeah.
Okay, that's where the hands need to be. Okay, good. A round of turns basically consists of these 5 stages, and they have it right here on the card. on the player card.
Do these yellow ones?
Yeah, I wanted to show everybody all of them.
Is it recording?
Yeah, I think so. The red light's on.
Wait. See, I thought you would appreciate that. Don't you do outtakes?
No, I
Come
don't.
on, do outtakes, man. Do an outtake
Oh,
special.
yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell's wrong with you? This is
we're gonna do
YouTube. You put whatever you want on there. Okay, you ready?